There's always unexpected things that come up, like Aaron and I never thought about that we would be wrestling with the height of the podium tonight. But that's just sort of par for the course for 2020, isn't it? Everything's just a little different. Can we just admit that Christmas is different in 2020 than any other time of the year? I mentioned our early service, and I was wondering where I was going to sit out there on the lawn. They had all the circles drawn up for people, and they said, "We've got a special chair for you, or a special seat for you right over here." And I went over, and I noticed that they had put a stool on a little slab of concrete. It was actually the opening for the septic tank. Par for the course for 2020. There's a metaphor in there somewhere. But here we are tonight, on the one hand, all sensing that we've got to keep ourselves and everybody around us safe, so we take these precautions, but in our heart of hearts, we're wishing that we could do some of the things that we've done in the past that make Christmas really matter to us. Traveling, concerts, school plays, parties, gatherings, sharing meals, sharing desserts, not sharing desserts, singing carols, even going to movies as a family. All of that now seems to fall in some category that has risk at the top of it. Now, I can't tell you that that isn't the truth, as much as I wish that I could. Our goal tonight in walking through this timeless story is to remind ourselves and to remind you that there is a Christmas gift available to us not only this year, but every year, 2020 included. God has for all of us one perfect gift. A gift that's intended to bring joy over sorrow, togetherness over isolation, a sense of belonging that cannot be taken away even by social distancing. One of the great things about this awful pandemic is that through no choice of their own, all of my older children have now come back to live either near me or with me. And so I'm really blessed tonight to have them participating. I'm going to ask my daughter Lainey to come, and she's going to open up our first Christmas gift for tonight. Thank you, Lainey. I asked Catherine Halterman, our children's director, to select the gifts that would go into these boxes. You notice the heart that she selected, it has a hole right in the middle of it, with a smaller heart that's trying to fill it. So often we do that in our lives. We long for love, we long for acceptance, we long for something that will fill up this hole in our lives. God's promise is that the love that He would share with us will fill up the hole in our hearts. It's good news. The news that when Jesus Christ came, love came with Him. In the 10th chapter of John's Gospel, when you get 10 verses in, there's a conversation between Jesus and His close friends. And He's talking to them about why He's come and what His coming can mean for them, the gift that it offers them. He says these words, "I have come that you may have life, and that you may have it more abundantly." Life. Isn't that what everybody's after? A life that we live and love into, a life that we are just so blessed to have. That's what everyone's looking for. And the promise that Jesus makes is that we can find it in Him. You see, the great news of Christmas is that even though we couldn't get close to God, God came close to us. Even though we can't get close to one another, God can draw us close together and hold us together eternally. God did that for us when he became human flesh. He took on the nature of what it is to be human. He became like us so that we could have life like him. That's why when the angels started sharing the good news that Jesus was coming to earth, the angels wanted to make sure that the shepherds didn't miss it, that they heard it. So do you remember the first thing they said to them? Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid, because, when we get scared, when we get frightened, when we're tempted to run away, we don't always hear. We don't always see. We don't always understand. And so their first words were, do not be afraid. And then they told them the good news about what was coming. Behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which will be to all people. For there is born to you this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord. Jesus came to tell us that we don't have to go anywhere to look for life. We can find life because he brought it to us. I want to ask my son Elijah if he'll come and open up our second gift for the evening. When you think about life, living, breathing, there's more to it than that, isn't it? This gift that comes, this gift of life, it's not full until it also is the gift of light. We heard earlier that the light shines in the darkness. I'm the light guy at my house at Christmas. If there's a light in the front yard, it's because I put it there. If there's a light on the tree, the family tree, the one that really matters, the one that no one's allowed to touch, I get first dibs on that tree. We have a tradition in our house. We buy our tree. I can't see it too well, but how many real tree people are out there? Real tree people. Okay, how many artificial trees? Okay, we're about 50-50. We're a real tree family. On the day after Thanksgiving, we buy our tree. And it sits for a couple of days as the limbs start to drop, and then it's turned over to me. And what happens in our house is that one morning early, a little earlier than usual, when I'm the only one up, I get to work. And the first thing I do is I check every strand of lights to make sure that they light. But I turn off the switch before I start putting the lights on the tree. And it makes it harder to put the lights in the right place that way. You have to do it right. You start at the bottom and you work your way around, but it's not just around. You have to go in and out, right? Someday I'm going to do a YouTube video on how to do this correctly. And the reason that I don't turn them on while I put them on is because we have this little gadget at the bottom of our tree, and when you step on it, all the lights come on. And so there is a moment that only I have, a moment when it's just me and the tree, and I step on that button, and the tree comes alive with light. I've been blessed to see that happen. Not just to my Christmas tree. my tree's great. It's not Rockefeller Center. It's not, the tree in D.C. It's our tree. It's our house. But I'm going to tell you that there's nothing in this world like watching the light of Christ come on in someone's life. I've been blessed to be able to be a part of that on a youth retreat, a camp out. I've been blessed in my life to watch the light come on for someone at a revival that was at a homeless ministry. I've seen the light come on for someone on a beach in Cuba, in places like Honduras and Haiti and the Dominican Republic, Pastor Bettina and I together in South Africa. I've seen the light come on for somebody in the sanctuary of a church just like this one. I've mentioned all of those places because I want you to understand that no matter where it happens or when it happens or to who it happens, it's always the same. When the light of Christ comes on in someone's life, no matter their circumstance, their situation, their background, their race, their color, their sexuality, their socioeconomic status, when the light comes on, everything changes. The light of Jesus Christ shining in our lives changes everything. It's been true for millions of people across hundreds of years, and it is still true tonight. And tonight, more than anything in this world, Christ wants that for each and every one of you. His light shining in your life. Hundreds of years before he came, the prophets of the Old Testament said that it would happen. And when Jesus came, he used their very words to speak about his arrival. Matthew chapter 4, verse 16, he says, "The people living in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned." You see, the light that Jesus brings is brighter than whatever darkness you and I are facing. The light that Jesus brings is strong enough to light the way from whatever darkness, whatever dark moments are happening on this earth. And he will continue to do that until we hang out all together in heaven. Now, I'm sure that for some of you, just like for me, this past year has given us some dark times, some dark circumstances, some dark situations. What better time than a dark time to give light a try? Tonight, God isn't just offering you life, he's offering you light. It's been dark long enough, hasn't it? It's Christmas. It's time to let the light shine. I'm going to ask my oldest daughter, Hannah, to come and open up our third gift. In case you haven't figured out, this is my way of giving him presents that I don't have to pay for. Thank you, Hannah. So I may have mentioned earlier that Catherine Halterman, our children's director, is the one that picked out what will go in these boxes. One to represent life, one to represent love, and this one to represent song. And what's interesting, this little xylophone's in the box, but Catherine didn't give me the little striker. She didn't want to take the chance that I would actually try to do something musical with everybody else that does music around this church. It just wouldn't work. But I want to talk to you about the song of life. The book of Psalms in the Bible is actually a collection of 5 separate books. They're poems that were often put to music, and they were sung as choruses, lifting up celebration to God. In fact, the Hebrew word for psalm is song of praise. So when we open up the Bible to the book of Psalms, we have 5 different books of choruses lifting up many, many people's praises to God. When you get to the 40th Psalm, verse 3 is one of my life verses. It's one of those verses that I memorized early on in my Christian faith, and it's just stayed with me. God put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to him. God put a new song in my mouth, a psalm of praise to him. Did you know that every heart and every person sings a song? The way we live sings about the things that we celebrate in our life. Whatever it is that you celebrate in your life, you are singing a song about it. Your life is. And just like everything else in the world of music, there are good song choices and there are bad song choices. And you know how to tell the difference, right? When you listen to somebody else's Spotify playlist, that's a bad choice, right? You go, how could that song be your favorite song? We're all different kinds of people, making all different kinds of choices. Some of us are singing songs with our lives that the lyrics simply are not good. And some of us are singing songs in our lives that the tune is not any kind of tune that anyone else wants to learn or to sing with us. If you believe the 40th Psalm, then you believe that God promises that he will give you a new song to sing. That song is already here. It's already written. It's already being sung all around you. It's a song of life that God puts within us, that sings out of us. And the great thing about this song is you don't even have to learn it. You don't have to be able to sing or play an instrument. You simply have to want to sing with your life about the God who's given you life and the God who's brought light into your life. This new song is a celebration of how much God loves you. Loves you so much that he would cross heaven and earth to come to where you are, to teach you how to sing. Whatever situation's going on in your life, whatever circumstance that's going on in your life, your situation and your circumstance is not your song. Jesus is your song. As we celebrate the gifts of Christmas, the one perfect gift that came to us in Jesus, we're singing our song to the whole world. You have a life to live. You have a love to share. You have a light. You have a love. Let them be the song that you sing. That song's name is Jesus. Pastor Patina won't, she never talks about herself in relation to her talents and gifts in music. We're going to be premiering a video of that song tonight at 8 o'clock on our live stream. So if you want to hear it again or be able to have the opportunity to see it, she and Shauna recorded that earlier. You know, we're often creatures of habit. Pastors are no exception to that. I've been leading churches through Christmas Eve services for 33 years. It's my 34th year, and what I usually do, my family will tell you, is we bring all the lights down, except for the one Christ candle. And I talk about how much darkness there is all around us, and yet there's this one light. It's a reminder that we need to be the light in the world. But I want to do this a little differently tonight. Obviously, we're going to need to social distance, and so our ushers are going to help us with that. They have the extended candle lighters. In just a moment, I'll ask them to come, and I'll get them started with the light. They will come to where you are at. Please don't move anywhere. You guys are all in your groups and distanced. So they'll come and find your group and just light candles amongst your group. We'll ask you to tip the candle that is not lit. And the lit candle needs to remain straight up and down. And usually we'll sing 4 verses of Silent Night. Craig will play, and he'll pause, and I'll talk in between. We're going to sing 2 verses of Silent Night tonight. Beautiful, beautiful carol. One of my favorite parts of the faith, my favorite parts of the Christmas season. We're only going to sing 2 verses tonight. And then we're going to break forth in song. We're going to sing, "Hark, the Herald Angel Sings." We're going to hold our candles aloft because we are not a small light in a dark world. We are a great big light in this great big world, and we need to act like it. So we're going to sing with the angels. And then the benediction for tonight is going to be joy to the world. We'll ask you to extinguish your candles and go out singing. But make sure you continue to sing joy to the world once you're in the world. So I want to invite the ushers to come. Pastor Patina and I will get them started. Let's sing together, Silent Night.